Okay, so hello. Here we are with Monica Behel, CEO BNW SSC. Some terrific work has happened with the release of the hygiene dossier, Monica, and congratulations to you. It's
Thank
a
you
great
so
work.
much, Ritu. Thank you, viewers, for viewing this, and thank you, Ritu, for having me here to
It's a pleasure.
share what all beauty and wellness sector skill is doing in this tough time, so
Yes.
that the industry can be back on track ASAP.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are talking about unprecedentedly, it's unprecedented these times, when we all are sitting at home for an industry which is so hands-on. We are a hands-on industry, and yet, industry bodies like you are trying their best to get the message out there and, get the people together to chart a course forward as lockdowns are gradually being removed in various states in India. So, Monica, we will start with the hygiene dossier, the one which you've released, and in multiple languages. So, we also want to understand the document in itself is very comprehensive. You've dealt with all categories of services and how the salons need to be, working post-COVID, lockdown opening, etc. So, but we want to understand from you that because the execution of this training needs to be done and to be maximized to a large number of people across the country. So, what is BNWSSC as an industry body doing about that?
Okay. Ritu, first of all, as you rightly mentioned, the guidelines which have been out in the market and out for the industry has four major pillars.
Right.
It's been based on four pillars. Infrastructure being the first and the foremost, because that is where the clients are going to come and use those services. Second is our client, the health, safety, and hygiene for that area where the client is going to be serviced. And the client is again divided into three parts. Client before the service, that's pre-service, client during the service, and the hygiene and the sanitation that we need to take care when the client is about to leave, and the post-service. Right. The third most critical factor in these guidelines is our service people, is our hands-on team who will be working in close proximity with the client and who have to make sure that while the client is comfortable, the services are delivered in the most sanitized way. And fourth, yes, is the most crucial and the point where you left it on, who's gonna make sure on the trainings, is the administrative staff, where it's the salon owners, it's the operation managers, it's the outlet managers, the floor managers, who will have to make sure, see, this is a change. It's a change of living, it's a change of lifestyle, it's a change of habits. And it has to be gradually drilled in all of us. The way we've got now used to washing our hands for 20 seconds, which earlier used to be like you just put a little bit of soap on your hand, put it under the running water and take it out. But we've gradually been attuned to using that and doing that just because it's been drilled in us. Whether it was through media played a big role in doing that, and so did the medical fraternity. Right. Now, what I will request all our industry members is, to do this as a drill for their teams every day in the morning, half an hour. It has to be drilled. It's like a fire drill. The way you do a fire drill, but unfortunately in India, it's done once in a year when the ISO certificates are getting expired and you have to apply for it. But Corona is here to stay and stay every day with us. So this drill needs to be done at least half an hour. Open your centers, salons, outlets, half an hour before the service time. Let the teams come in. Let the drill happen every day till the time, and at least it will take minimum a fortnight of drilling every half an hour every day morning. And believe you me, in say a fortnight's time, in 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be sleeping, eating, and breathing these guidelines. It'll be like in the middle of the night also, if you'll shake them up and ask them, baal kaise kaatne hai? The first thing that will come out is, haathon ko pehle sanitize karo, gloves pehno. So we need to take that ownership. Having said that, a lot of big chains have come forward in the salon industry as well as in the product divisions. People who are manufacturing products, because their business is also dependent only if the salons are functional. They are the back-end service providers. They produce products to be used by our industry. They've come forward to do these trainings, and some of them have already been doing online trainings.
Right.
I will further take it to the next level to hear from. India has 730 districts.
Right.
So and our members, the kind of members that we have in our industry, when we talk about 65 lakh salons,
right,
is beyond 730. If
right,
each one of us take the responsibility of each district, that is it. You do not need to go beyond your periphery and your demographic areas.
yeah,
Take the responsibility, train all the small standalone barbershops, salons in that district, handhold them, because they will not even know where to get the disposable stuff from.
right.
So here I will urge the bigger players in the market to come forward, handhold them, do their training as well while you are doing your own staff training, and guide them where to pick up all these stuff. And you being a bigger player and having n number of salons and outlets will get a better rate. So have your vendors pass that on to these small time players, the neighborhood shops, the neighborhood beauty parlors, the barber shops. Then only we'll be able to bring in a wave which will be healthy, which will be sanitized, and which will be hygienic for our industry.
Perfect. So we are also talking about the certification, as you had discussed earlier about, a hygiene certificate, for people who are doing it right, and you have trained in the hygiene techniques. So what's the status of that?
Within this week, we are on Thursday today.
Yeah.
Before the end of this week, there will be the guidelines are, as you mentioned, are already out in 11 languages,
right,
including English and Hindi, because we wanted it to be not just reaching the end user, but to be understood by the end user in their own native language.
Absolutely.
We all can read and write English, but I think the flavor and the comfort we get reading in our own mother tongue is very different.
Yeah.
And that makes the usefulness of it being implemented in a bigger fashion. Now, on the similar lines, we are making an animated video, Ritu, because reading is one thing.
Yeah.
Seeing it, how it's been done, leaves a bigger impact on your mind and on your brain, and has a visual impact, has a long-lasting recall value. So that video is already there in place. So by, I think, weekend, you will have the video on first. Followed by the video, there will be questionnaire, which is, as I mentioned to you, on a one-on-one chat, which will be a MCQ kind, multiple choice question, just like a Kaun Banega Crorepati. Okay. So here, instead of becoming a crorepati, you're becoming a healthy person.
Yeah.
And people who will qualify, at least 75% of it will be given a certificate from Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council, and it will be e-certificate. They can download it therein, then can display it even at their outlet. That will give some consumer confidence to the people who are walking in.
That sounds great. So Monica, we'll wait for that video, and of course, as the industry media, we will promote it as far as possible. Now moving to our next question and the mandate of Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council, which is skilling, and so about 12 million, as I was reading, going through that research, and there's going to be a requirement of 12 million skilled people by 2022. So we are just 2 years away from that. Of course, we've had a big break in between with
setback, a bit of a setback, but that's okay. I think everything should be taken in a positive fashion.
Yeah.
So now,
and also a big positive for our industry, because it kind of is shaken up to go online, and online trainings are still possible, and a wide reach can be had with the kind of internet availability across the country now. So what is the status, in terms of skilling? Monica, if you can share with us the latest update with how BNWSSC has moved, and especially with salon and beauty. And of course, there are about 1.8 million people at the beauty retailing end. So we would also like to hear about that.
Okay. Ritu, as you know, we are under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So we are following all the protocols being set up by our ministry.
Right.
As you know, all the training institutes, whether they are schools, colleges, polytechnics, they've been asked to remain closed. And that's very important, because the younger generation is the future of our nation, so we cannot risk them. Having said that, very valid point you made is online. There's been a guideline which has already been issued by our ministry, followed by NSDC, and followed by all the sectoral councils, that a part of the theory, only the theory part,
Right.
which can be delivered through an online mode. We should start doing that post 17th of May. The training partners have been onboarded on the same. They've been asked to upgrade their platform so that they can start delivering those e-content being prepared by BWSSC and the other sectoral councils to their students, so that the reach is there. But having said that, as the basic objective of vocational training is skilling with hands.
Right.
And in our industry, all the more important because it's a touch and feel industry. You will not be able to, just by seeing a video or a tutorial, become a hairdresser or a therapist unless you've tried. You've been given a demonstration that can again be done online, but unless you've been supervised while you're doing the basic things, and we all learn from it. We all have come to this level learning from our mistakes. So having said that, there's a provision that we are talking to. Currently, it's still under discussion that maybe we will, the way we are doing the guidelines for the salon industry, we will have to set up the similar kind of guidelines for our institutes, where the social distancing norms are being maintained. The students are called only for practicals. As I mentioned, theory can be delivered online, and we've had many of industry partners who've come on board to do these modules for us. So thanks a lot to all those industry partners. They've been willingly, like one call, and they've been working on it. They've done their videos, which is delivering the theory in a fashion that I think only the best teachers could teach. So I'm very happy there that the industry is there backing, giving us the complete backing.
Sure.
And for the practical, again, as I mentioned, protocols will be soon out, where social distancing norms and everything as per the guidelines will be maintained.
Right. So coming back to our the goals that we started with of industry needing 22 million skilled people. Yeah. How far have we gone, in that direction? Do you think we are, reaching that? Because 2022 is what we were talking about then, and how can we move faster?
Ritu, as you must have read in that report, that our CGAR compared to the rest of the global number of 15%, we were growing at an 18.6%.
Right.
So this was pre-COVID times.
Yeah.
COVID, while it has impacted India, but it has impacted other nations much in a worse condition than India. But Indians being resilient, and we know how to get our way whenever we've been put against the wall. So I think we should be able to come out of it very strong. Yeah. Having said that, this roadblock towards getting that number of skilled manpower being there by another 2 years, which the entire thing was online, and we were going on the track, we would have been able to suffice the need. And if you see, the need had been higher in the wellness domain.
Yes.
Like in a spa, in yoga, in Ayurveda, and all that. And these are gonna be going forward the need of the hour, not only in India, but abroad also. During this pandemic, we're getting so many requests from different other nations that they will be, once things are okay and once the international travel and everything is back in place, they will need yoga trainers from us. They will need wellness therapists from us. So if we can get at least some lineup of the trainings in the pipeline, so that 6 months down the line, we can plan that out. So having said that, this is, I would still say, ours is one industry which is a sunrise industry, and ours is one industry which is recession proof. So I still continue on that because you will need to maintain your physical and mental well-being at all costs if you have to perform. And that performance could be in a competitive world, in a corporate culture. It could be just for your own growth. So while we need the salons and the centers and all that on one side, we will need the wellness part on the other side.
Absolutely. Okay, well said, Monica. Now we just quickly move to the question of recognizing prior learning. We understand that, whilst there are the latest numbers that have emerged, that 7 lakh people, 70 lakh people,
70 lakh, yeah.
indirectly and indirectly attached and employed by this industry. We have also, I think, not taken into account, the people who've always been, the hairdressing barbers, in the villages of India, and where I think formal learning may not have been there. It's something that they have inherited and grown into their trades. So, recognizing prior learning has been a part of BNW SSC's discourse, and we would like to understand where you stand with that, and how you're going to move with that aspect going forward.
Again, as you rightly mentioned, MSDE, one of the things that they are working very passionately about is recognition of the prior learning. Because in India, it's a trend that the skills are being passed on from the father to the son and from mother to the children, and they get into that trade. Same goes, as you mentioned rightly, for the barbers. Same goes for our industry as well, that there's no professional qualification being assigned to it, and there's no certification being done. But over the period of years, seeing their parents doing it, being grown up in that atmosphere and learning by doing it, they are, I think, some of them are the best professionals that we have. Yes. So government is very passionate to bring these kind of people on the forefront and give them a recognition that they need, and that should have come to them long time back. Absolutely. So for that, RPL is one method, that's recognition of prior learning. Currently, BWSSC is again very passionately driving RPL. We've done so many numbers of RPL across different nations, across different brands, in which everyone, even for the current set of employees, if we talk of big salon chains also today, the current set of the employees, I can assure you, Ritu, only 15 to 20% of them will have the professional qualification or a certification. Right. 80% of them are the ones who've grown. And I've seen that happening from a pedicure to assistant hairstylist to a hairstylist, and from a tea and coffee serving boy to a pedicurist. And that's very valid, and that shows the scope that this industry has and can give it to its people who are interested in it. Yeah. But we would again request RPL1, which is the recognition of prior learning in a camp mode, we are doing very aggressively. Currently also, we've got targets to do it in Northeast India. We have got targets to do in J&K. So we are just waiting for the lockdown to open, in which a small training capsule of 12 hours is done. And these training capsules has been divided into 3 days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Thursdays being a very low economy and the client days for our market for salons, and Tuesday most of the salons are closed. Yeah. So this includes upskills, how to whatever the skills they come with, how to upgrade them on their skills. It includes soft skills, because what these guys may have, they know how to use the scissor, they know how to use the dryer, they know how to use their hands. Right. But maybe they do not know how to attain and contain a client who's coming to them and make sure that the client has a repeat value with them. Right. So soft skills play a very important role. And the third, which is a very, very important teaching which is done for them, is retaining the client and increasing the ticket size for that client. Yes. That a client has come, let's say, for a hair color touch-up. Yeah. So instead of making the client apply the color and wait for 35-40 minutes, why can't we offer another service which can be done while they are sitting, like a manicure or a pedicure? So these kind of skills are what we are teaching them. One is directly upskilling, whatever they know, what is the latest is told. Second, soft skills. And third, retaining your clients and increasing the ticket size. And I very proudly say that BWSSC in the skill ecosystem is one of the leading sector skill council who's doing RPL in the forefront.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, if you could quickly add, you've had many job fairs. How do job fairs work out for BWSSC and the client? How do you grow the jobs in the market? And what's the kind of industry participation that comes through? And how do you plan, how do you think it can be grown? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last 1 year, Ritu, the job fairs that we've done a little tweaking on the kind of job fairs that we've been doing. Earlier, it used to be a big mela
Yeah.
A job mela we used to do,
Yeah.
where we used to get all the vacancies throughout for that region and invite all the industry partners and all the training partners on one platform.
Sure.
There, the learning that we had was that the students who are passing out from PMKVY centers and the small courses that they are doing, they're not very keen and they're not very mobile to move out, very far off from their residence. Though they were getting offer letters, jobs, but they were not turning out.
Right.
So this year, the year which is passed by 1920, we changed the way of doing it.
Sure.
We started doing it in the contained zones. Like we request a training partner. The moment he has a batch size of 100 plus students who are passing out, we go and do the job fair in his premises or in and around his premises.
Sure.
And get all the players who will be hiring in and around his area within the same city, so that when the jobs happen and the offer letters are given, they are more practical and students are able to pick them up. Having said that, must thank here our industry partners who've been coming on board every time and picking up these students, and the kind of confidence you see the moment they get an offer letter, because they could never have thought of getting an offer letter from a multi-chain brand. Yes. From a brand that they've all seen only on TV. So getting that offer letter, the kind of confidence it builds up, not only in their peers, obviously in themselves and the peers, but even in the coming batches.
Sure. That
if you are a good student, you will be picked up. But this sky is the limit. That's where it is. So, and it's very important to have that confidence and instill that if you do well, any brand would be more than happy and keen to pick you up on their board.
Okay. That's fantastic. Monica, moving to the training partners, how many have been accredited till today? Like, and numbers, I don't want you to literally, give me the exact number, but more about what's the, if you can quickly sum up, because we want to put this out to everyone who we can reach out to. As to how does one get accredited as a BWSSE training partner?
Ritu, there are two ways of it. One is that you apply on NSDC website. Your center is uploaded there. You should meet the criteria. We've laid out the criteria, the lab sizes, equipment.
Sure.
You meet that. It comes to us. We will check it. There'll be a physical inspection done at your place. Sure. And you pay the nominal fee, you fill in the forms, and you're accredited as an NSDC partner. Sure. Second is industry partners. We are promoting, as of today, in all the industry partners that we have who are into training also and who are doing paid courses, need not be a government funded courses. They are coming on board with us, registering their institute. So for that, it's a very simple method. In fact, they will not have to go through the entire form filling and all. I have in my team, there are members who will guide them, who will get them onboarded on the portal that we have, Skill India portal, and they are onboarded there, and they can then get on to giving the certificate of Skill India, BWSSE and NSDC to their students. So it's a very simple method for the industry members who are already in training.
Sure. Fantastic. Okay. Now, last but not least, there are some teeny-weeny questions about, so we've got the average salaries rising in the industry, as we've seen so far, especially the salon businesses, the salon jobs. So what is happening? I was just looking at this research, and we see that Orissa and Chhattisgarh and Kerala are the three states where you have the topmost average salaries of professionals. Can you explain this a little bit? And then
I know that, in fact, that baffled us also when we downloaded the data and we saw that, but when we went in the details, those states had picked up the job roles. See, we've got 22 job roles.
Yeah.
They had picked up some job roles which have been a high paying capacity.
Okay.
We, unfortunately, Chhattisgarh and Orissa do not have that much number of salons available in the states. Yes. So that was again one contraindication that must have crossed your mind also.
Yeah.
And so these guys, the students who passed out, were very willing to move out.
Yeah.
They moved to metros.
Okay.
As a result, their pay package came out to be higher.
Okay.
Kerala, that way, is one state which has the maximum number of your NRIs in Dubai and East.
Right.
So whenever these guys come back, all the spas in Kerala And Kerala has become a tourist destination also.
Yeah.
So all the spas in Kerala and Ayurvedic centers in Kerala have started picking up our students and have started offering very, very good salaries.
Sure.
In fact, a lot of hotel chains have come forward to pick up our students, and especially in the category of the spa and the skin therapist. So that is what has led it to it. And I will request through your medium, and then which better way to reach out to our students, that always, if you're getting a job little away from your home, do not hesitate. I must say here, compliment, while we are talking of Odisha and Chhattisgarh, Northeast students also.
Yes.
That's one belt from which they are very comfortable moving out, and they move in as a group. And
Yes.
all these big chains, they give them the boarding facility as well.
Yes.
It's not that they're left on their own to fetch in a new city. They move as a group, they're given a boarding facility, they all stay together, and there's a sense of safety because you're in the amongst one of your own. Plus, the kind of exposure that they get outside in other metros is humongous. So I would again request through your medium to all our students who are passing out, who are still doing the courses, guys, if you get a good brand to start with, do not hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. One movement out will change the entire structure for you, for your life going forward.
Fantastic. And so we are trying to say that, our industry takes care of the migrant employees that,
very well, very well.
Working
Must
with.
say that.
Yeah.
In
And
fact, we've been complimented on the same by our Honorable Mantri ji also, Dr.
Yeah.
Pandey, in one of the Northeast, we were in Assam,
Yeah.
and while he was addressing the entire skill community there, so
Sure.
he mentioned that I must congratulate. He mentioned two of the sector skills, which
Yeah.
one was ours. Tourism, obviously, the hotels will give the boarding. The
Yeah.
second was ours, that the people he met some of the students, in fact, while he was in Guwahati, he met some of the students and they were full of praises that their employers look after them.
Okay, fantastic. So another thing that bothers me a little bit is about the insurance, the protection that both the employer and the employee must have in our industry. Is there any outlook for that BNWSSC has? Yeah.
See, as per ministry guidelines, when the students are undergoing the course, there's a mandated insurance that happens for them. In fact, even in RPL, there's a special component of personal insurance for the students. Yeah. So from ministry, NSDC and BWSSC, yes, insurance is mandate. But I'm very happy to announce here now, even the government has announced mandate of insuring your employees before you open up after COVID. So any outlet which has to open up, they need to have a mandated insurance of their employees. I can share that press cutting with you for you to put it up also. So that will, I think, give a lot of support both to the employers and employees in case they are not well, in case there's a loss of pay happening there, so that can be compensated by the insurance companies. And all the big chains, I must mention here, who are our members also, whom I know of, they have the medical insurance for their employees. And ours being a women-dominated industry, most of the chains even have a maternity insurance. So that's one good thing for our industry. I haven't seen any other industry where maternity charges are being taken care of by the medical insurance. So that's one thing up for us.
So on that positive note, Monica, it was great having you with Beauty Space Media, Beauty Launchpad. Please do keep connected and please do keep giving us the scoops before anyone else. We are greedy. Thank you so much. It was great having you with us.
Thank you so much, Ritu, and thank you to you and to your media house for having me here. And yes, we need your support to get back on track. The industry needs to get back on track. The skilling needs to get back on track, and we need all of you supporting us. Thank you so much for having me. Big namaste.
Namaste. Bye-bye.